Council, let's get started. I'll bring the meeting to order and we'll get started. I know we got a quorum here, and we have several things on the agenda this afternoon. Item number one, the mayor has vetoed this grocery store on South Decatur Street, and he's given you indication of why he did that. And I think a lot of that we did not hear before. So anybody got any discussion on that item? You got that in front of you. I have no problem with the mayor's position on that. Okay? CC's got.
Oh, you was asking.
Item number one now.
Oh, okay. That's what we have. Item one.
You got any problem with it?
I don't have any problem. I think when we get to the point, this is a grocery store.
Talk into your mic.
Is my mic on?
See, it's on now, yeah.
Yeah,
Get
well,
close
look
to
at
it.
this is a grocery store that's asking for a retail and beer wine license that we approve unanimously from this council, and it's a grocery store, and these reasonings, you know, I think if we're going to deny this grocery store the right to sell beer and wine as a grocery store, then what we're setting the precedent that we're going to stop all grocery stores within the city of Montgomery from selling wine and beer.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
So
But
I think we need
I
to
mentioned no
overturn the
why, other than the reason that the mayor wrote down here for you.
And
What's the real
Mr.
bottom line? We had no conversation from the public on this one.
Well, actually, Mr. Jim Wright, if I may,
What, Audrey?
can you hear me?
No.
No. Hello? Hello? Okay. Actually, when we approved this the first time last year, we had the president from Patterson Court come down and actually speak up for this and said that they were in favor of this. I spoke with Tracy. Tracy did some lead work last year on it. So he felt really comfortable about it being in his district and the people around there not having any objection to it. So I just don't know if everybody had.
So all the neighbors, you're saying the neighbors didn't have a problem with it?
No, he did not have. And the president from that association came down and said they supported that.
Yep.
They supported it. Okay. Okay, well, that tells you where we at on the council. We'll talk about it. Okay. All right, item number two. Item number two, Tommy, what you got?
This is a revised to the master plan for Stony Brook, and it's changing multifamily to single family, and it was recommended by the Planning Commission unanimously.
My
That's
district,
very positive.
it's my
Go ahead.
district, and I'm very happy about that.
I would be happy too. Go from multifamily to single family, that's unusual.
They're extremely
Very
excited.
unusual. That's great, great. No more discussion needed on that one. That's a positive.
The next one was a mobile home. It was restricted to one mobile home on this lot, and the applicant was going to sell cars from it.
Okay.
It was unanimous as well.
It's surrounded by.
One mobile home is all it is, okay. Anybody got any questions of Tommy on that item? Okay. Next item, thank you, Tommy. Next item is the budget. I'll go ahead and tell you that I have set up a work session on September the 9th at 3 p.m. Ms. Blaylock's already sent out a notice on this issue, so we'll have a meeting in here to work on the budget and review that and have any questions of the department heads at that time on the budget. So we'll ask the mayor to bring the department heads in that day for the budget. And Betty, I guess you'll have all the answers anyway, so probably don't need anybody but you. But we won't wear you out. We'll have some other questions, okay? All right, very good. Number six. Number
Mr.
six,
Jim,
is that yours, Audrey?
Yes, sir. I've been speaking with them over and over. I spoke with the owner of the AirTech today. He's saying, because even people from the church right there across the street started calling me, and he's saying that they won't sit down and talk with him. So my goal is I spoke with Ms. Braylock about setting a date out before the next meeting to put them in the same room. At least hear him before you just tell me no over and over and over.
So
and over.
you're okay with it today?
Yeah, well, I want to carry it over one more time.
Okay.
Speak, together. They have not talked with each other.
They haven't, okay.
No, because he's calling them, but they're saying, well, I can't get everybody together. I'm gonna try to get them together.
Well, I think
and
then
put 'em in the
you
same
know
room.
what you're going to, okay. What do you-
Yeah, and let's
Carry it
just
on
see
one
if
more
we can
time
do
then,
it.
okay?
Okay.
If he's okay with that.
Thank you.
Number 7,
What?
and that's
where
your
are we?
moratorium. Why don't we,
Did you have any?
we got a couple
I've
out
got
there
one
standing.
tonight that
Richard's got one.
And
Approved.
is that the one we were talking about?
That's
or
the
is-
one, yeah, I started 6 months ago with the guy.
Okay.
So you need to go with that. Maybe we need to, are we ready for this? Is this,
What does everybody else, nobody in the council really told me, what do you think about the report?
when do we kick this over till after the budget's passed?
Yeah, kick it over, but I want to discuss this a little.
Let's put this to the second meeting in October. When we get past the budget and get into the new year, and then we have a chance to really discuss this in fully, okay?
Yeah, that's the same thing. CC asked to just carry it over, so that's fine with me.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Second meeting in
Thank you, Ms.
October.
Grant.
Okay, this number 8 is strictly the waterworks selling a piece of property, and they need our approval to do that. And I assume there'll be somebody here, the attorneys on that, but that's normal, not a big issue.
I think FedEx is gonna use that property.
Yeah, it's not a big, yeah, so. All right,
What-
number
I'm sorry.
9.
Mr. Jim Wright, where is the property? I'm sorry.
Hold it, hold it. Go ahead, number,
Out there in,
Gunner.
Joseph Parkway.
It's in Ghana?
No, it's out by,
talk in your mic, what you got?
like going by Hyundai out there.
Okay.
Yeah, that should be.
You okay, CC?
Okay.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
go to number 9.
We on number 9?
Yeah.
Somebody want to talk about it?
Number 9, I think we need to go ahead and put this in a committee. We have Public Safety Committee, and I think I will suggest we go to the Public Safety Committee with this for further discussion. This has been an ongoing thing for a long time. I think the mayor wants a discussion on it also. So I'm going to assign this to the Public Safety Committee, and I think that we've got 5 of the council members that are assigned to that, I believe, or 4 or 5. So get with Ms. Blaylock and decide if you're on that meeting. But I think it's you, CC, Mr. Bollinger, Mr. Larkin, and one more.
Mr. Mitchell.
I think Mr. Larkin.
Who?
Mr. Mitchell.
Mr. Mitchell, okay, all right.
Who all's on that, Miss Brenda?
Mitchell,
Larkin is the chairman, Bollinger, Pruitt, Calhoun, and Mitchell.
and let me just say this at this point, if Mr. Larkin's not available for meeting, I'm appointing Mr. Pruitt as the chair.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate
And
that.
I can show up at the.
I thought you'd like that, Mr. Pruitt. But you know a lot about this stuff.
Anybody.
Okay, okay, all right. Number 10,
We're gonna convene the committee.
now, Mr. Brantley asked us, Brantley's had a family emergency, a health issue with his father-in-law this afternoon. He will not be here. He's asked us to carry this over 2 weeks, number 10. We will have the public hearing, and we'll carry it over 2 weeks because he wants to meet with the neighborhood in that area. There's some questions about this particular bar, okay? So we'll carry this over till that'll be the 15th, the next meeting, our next meeting, so we'll carry it to 16th, okay? All right, Raceway, number 11. Number 11 is I guess mine,
It is.
is it? Yeah, it's no problem, that's a transfer of ownership, they're franchise, no businesses, so, which is happening in most all these convenience stores, so, not unusual. Have no problem. Other than we got to make sure we keep it clean, so we'll work on that. All right, number 12, gentleman, lady,
12 and 13 or mine.
that you? You okay?
Yes, and I'm okay.
Okay. Number 13, hold it.
Yeah, that's that same one.
Huh?
That's the same one that's being built. He just divided.
Oh, he divided it into 2 different deals, okay, that's when
Yeah,
you,
that's what he had
one's
to buy.
package, one convenience store, okay, I got you, all right. And you're okay with that one?
Yeah.
Okay, now number 14, Crown Tobacco and Package Store,
Oh, yeah, Mr. President.
Nair Lane.
Yeah, Mr. President.
Yes, sir, what's up?
I'm-
Yeah, Mr. Calhoun, y'all pull your mask down. You're muffling yourself. It's pretty hard to hear.
Okay, I'm gonna ask that we carry that over. I'm getting some opposition from the neighborhood association, and I wanna work with the neighborhood association and the owners to see if we can come with a compromise.
Okay, got your carryover. We'll have a public hearing and carry it over. Okay? All right, number 15 is an appeal from Mr. Reese. We'll hear from him when he comes in on 5 o'clock meeting. Number 16, we're tearing them down. Let's see, we only got 9 today. Sad, sad, sad. Hate to see that, but that's reality. Bigger yard to cut now, I guess. All right, number 17 and 18 are our abatements and our signs of safe structure. We'll cover those. And that pretty well covers our agenda today, gentlemen and lady. Anybody got anything you want to talk about?
Just wanted to see, could we get an update on where we are about those closures of those clubs? They did get I think, a stay.
Yeah, we got, Stacy, you can load us up.
They've both been temporarily closed pending a final hearing. The final hearing, the court set a briefing schedule. Because of the way it's appealed, it's considered a writ, which means there's not going to be any new testimony. They can only go on the record that was before the city council. So they have set out a briefing schedule for the petitioners, the clubs, to submit a brief about why your actions were arbitrary and capricious. And then our responsibility will be to respond and use the record on appeal to show why it was not. We believe the judge is going to uphold the decision. The fact that she lifted the stay and would not let them remain open, I think is a good sign that they'll remain closed.
Thank you.
Stacy, while you giving updates, can you give me an update on the Boulevard, the service station, Chevron on the West South Boulevard?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I'm sorry. Can you give me an update on the Chevron on the West South Boulevard, please?
Is that Cy Aria?
That's one that's been appealed.
Yeah, there are 2 that are on appeal right now. I think that's Cy Aria. That's we know.
Right, I think so.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
that's how we know them. I don't really know the address. We have submitted on that one the record on appeal. The only difference in that one is that the court is going to. His attorney has made an argument that the city council requires them to do the construction and remodeling before a business license can be applied for. We told the court that's not accurate. In fact, we dealt with that several years ago and worked with the city clerk's office to make sure on the bottom of the application there's some highlighted verbiage that says you do that at your own risk. So the court is going to let that attorney get information regarding the application process to see if he can prove that we make them go out and expend funds before we will consider a business license. I don't foresee any issue on that at all. It's going to come down to what's on the video and what we can articulate as to why he was denied.
Okay.
And Brittany Jones in our office is handling that. I was here when it happened originally, but I haven't reviewed the video. But we've had pretty good success on the courts upholding our decisions. In the event that 1 or 2 have not been upheld, they've been upheld on appeal.
Okay. And do we have a time frame on when that may go back? No. Okay.
We don't. We've submitted and asked the court to give us a briefing schedule, but because he's allowing them to do some limited discovery, that's going to extend it a couple of months. So my anticipation is we probably will not have a decision before the new year.
Okay. No problem. Thank you.
One other question, Ms. Stacy. You know, we have closed those clubs now. Are we able to put in, I guess, a number of security guards that each club must have according to their capacity? Are we able to?
That's actually been considered before, and it went before the city council. I think it was in a committee, and it was discussed. And at the time, the city council had come up with some numbers to consider, and I think ultimately it was voted down. They decided not to do it, but certainly they've considered it before, and I think it can be considered again. It's something that can be done.
That'll be right back in the Public Service Committee.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
Brandon Hodge is here, and I think, I think it may have been Councilman Larkin or somebody had some questions about the appeal process of tearing down structures, and wanted to see if Brandon could give us a 2 or 3 minute
Yeah, that'd be good.
Reader's Digest version of
Yeah.
the process of the appeal of the demo. And by the way, Mr. President, I want to share with this council, I want to thank Brandon. About 2 weeks ago, I called him as a gentleman was blowing grass into the middle of the street, and little did I know he was blowing it into the property that I was cutting. And very close to getting to an altercation, I was on the phone with Brandon, and I said, you need to send somebody now. Well, Brandon showed up in 5 minutes because he thought I was fixing to get in a fight with 3 dudes that was working for another company.
Well, Brandon's
So
larger than
I
you are.
appreciate you showing up, Brandon.
Anytime.
Yeah.
As far as the, you mean specifics to the appeal that Mr. Reese has filed here tonight, would be that we cited his property. It's on the corner of Grove and Union, and I've got some pictures to show here in a little while.
Put the mic up close to you, Brandon.
We actually sent notice to Mr. Reese just earlier this month, actually, and he received it timely, filed his appeal through Ms. Blaylock, and I guess his argument is that his properties are not in any kind of unsafe condition as far as structurally. He said they're not blighted, they're not distressed, that they need minimal work to be performed on it to be viable properties. They're on the corner of Grove and Union, so it's a high trafficked area. It's a main thoroughfare corridor into downtown, and we were simply trying to address all the properties along that corridor, and he happened to be an owner of about 4 structures right in there, and we cited all of them. And so, like I said, his contention is just that we're in error, that he doesn't need.
Are those the ones across from the old BTW right there?
Those are them, yes,
They're
sir.
horrible. They're absolutely horrible.
Yeah,
Especially when the kids were going to school there.
They're in pretty rough conditions. We've actually dealt with him on another one in that same area. He did paint it, but that was the extent of it. He put a coat of paint on the front to about 3 sides of it, and said that he would never do anything else until we forced action, which is, like I said, while we sent notice, and he just contends that we're in error. Our findings, there's no blight to the properties, they're not in any kind of distressed state, and that, you know, he actually made the argument that he knows his private property rights, and we in fact can't force anything.
Do you know how long he's owned these properties? Just curious.
I think going back probably about 6 to 8 years. I know we've got some photographs back in 2016 when they were in the same state they are now.
Okay.
So I know it's been a little over 4 years where he's owned them and hasn't done any kind of improvements whatsoever.
Mr. Hodge, while we have you here, I have a question. I have someone, and I talked with Mr. Conway about it, and I left the addresses at home. I'm so sorry I didn't get it to you.
Yes, ma'am.
But I have a young man in one of my communities said there are about 6 houses that need wood around the roof of the house, you know, that trimming that we paint.
So, like
Is that
baseboard?
something you can go out and cite people about or make them put wood up or?
Yeah, as far as we can cite a property for, you know, exterior repairs, as far as needed repairs, but it's a rather lengthy process as far as the force action. Best case scenario is we make contact and kind of encourage them into making the improvements, but there is a process. Like I said, it's just a rather long and lengthy and difficult one to actually force action on.
Okay, well, I'm gonna get you and Mr.
Absolutely.
Conway those addresses, and you just, whatever
ma'am.
y'all can do, I guess we'll appreciate that.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
Thank you, Brandon.
One other thing I'd like to address about Crampton Bowl. I love that we are playing sports in Crampton Bowl, but I want to see what are we doing about enforcing the mask ordinance. I went to, I think, JD and Lanier game. Wasn't any social distance. Once they got in the game, they took their masks off. We did have a fight within the game, and I just want to see where we force the number of people that we're allowing in and how we're enforcing that mask ordinance once they get in.
Okay. Can you talk to us about that? I know the police take over when it's MPS that handles it, don't they?
Mm-hmm. That's when we go.
Yeah. So that's where the issue is. So, okay, you turn the bowl over to the MPS, don't you?
Yeah, MPS handles the exterior and the school enforcement officers handle interior. Now, I do know there was a conference call with the superintendent early last week, and the schools were basically put on alert. it would improve, or there will be no football, or it will be parents only of players, cheerleaders, and band. So those are the two options they were given. It improved this past weekend, and I did in fact see, I was out there, and there were administrators, teachers from both schools present, and we're checking every kid, checking masks as they came through the gate. So it was much improved this past week.
Mr. Jenright,
Yes, sir.
I have a question. In case, not really, but why is we as a city cannot enforce it on the inside? The ordinance that we passed, and I've noticed at Auburn and Alabama, they are continuing to write tickets downtown Tuscaloosa for kids not wearing masks. Being the city's property, why can we not enforce our mask ordinance inside the Crampton Bowl?
You need to ask the police chief that. That's administration situation there.
It boils down to a manpower issue at some point. Now, they can go get MPD and have it addressed. You know, the school enforcement officers are on the interior working for the school system. The games belong to the school. They do the ticket sales and all those things. And we did actually have MPD address it. And this Saturday we had it addressed, without a doubt, at the Guardian. So it can be done. It's just really numbers of officers that are there would probably be more the issue. You know, Chief can address that more than I can on numbers. But I believe it is enforceable. We can ask people to leave.
Okay. Mr. Mitchell, I think that's something that we address with Chief Finley.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it needs to be done. You had problems at the one Friday night game too?
The Saturday.
Saturday was the bowl game.
Last.
Last week, okay. But the Friday night game, that was Jeff Davis. That worked out fine?
Yeah, that went out fine.
Okay. Well, I thought maybe they got
Well, we
the,
need to.
anybody else got anything they want to bring up?
Hey, before we leave, can we
Yes,
go
Chief.
ahead? Rondé, do you want to go ahead and discuss it with Chief Finley?
Yes.
Chief, come talk to us about the bowl. Rondé's got it. Mr. Mitchell's got a question.
Chief, we was just asking, you know, we know that interior is supposed to be Montgomery Public School System security, and we was just trying to see how can we enforce that mask ordinance when it comes to those high school students or anybody that's watching that high school game, because I think last Saturday at that JD and Lanier game, you know, once they got in, they didn't social distance, also their mask came out. So we was just inquiring what we need to do.
So let me get with my staff, Major Hall, and I know that Major Hall and my staff is out there just to make sure that we get with the administrators, Parks and Recs, to make sure that we, you know, do a better job to encourage them to wear the masks. You know, throughout this whole pandemic and with the mayor's order, we strongly encourage cooperation, and so we would do a better job to strongly engage those crowds out there to talk about wearing the mask, the safety of wearing the mask, or we come up with the system. I'm not going to give the game plan right now, but you guys brought it to my attention, and we'll work on that for the games coming up.
Hey, Chief.
Yes, sir.
I know in Tuscaloosa and Auburn, they're standing on street corners writing kids tickets to $25, enforcing the heck out of it in Auburn and in Tuscaloosa. Could we do that on the inside of the stadium to get people's attention?
You know,
it's not about the money.
Yeah.
It's
So what I would say is, you know, and I'm going to be consistent, is that we're going to strongly encourage cooperation, and I'm not going to say we're going to do this, that, or the other right now. But what I would do is just give them the benefit of the doubt, and I will get with my folks to really encourage that. Some cooperation, better cooperation on that, because, you know, we haven't, I can't think of in weeks when we wrote any tickets.
Right.
But we do get a lot of cooperation with the sheer number of police officers, supervisors, and other volunteers to really get the cooperation that we need. And so again, when we talk about those areas where we need to be seen and make that voice, I think that we get more coverage and cooperation with a more direct for this policy.
No,
So,
listen, I agree, but, you know, I went in the cookie jar and got the cookies out until my dad busted my butt. Eventually, we may have to do that. And,
Yeah, well-
you just got to get somebody's attention. Because
Well-
we want high school football
yeah.
and the kids in the stands.
And so what I would say is, we haven't been, right? So we are out there, and that's haven't been the direction that was given to my officers. But I'm taking some information now, and I know how we operate. We do a very good job when we get some clear directions of what we need. So we need compliance. So I'll work on that, and that'll be a given.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? I will adjourn the meeting till 5 o'clock. We'll reconvene at 5 o'clock.